Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. Of course, Jay, Devin Haney has a big fight coming up on December 9th against Regis Prograis. Now, they're going to have some very stiff competition on that night because Floyd Mayweather, Keith Thurman, and Danny Garcia are going to be featured on a card on the same date. But nonetheless, this is a big fight between he and Regis Prograis. Now, of course, they're going to make the rounds in order to promote the fight, right? So you're going to see them on different platforms doing interviews. And recently, Devin Haney was on the MMA Hour. Now, it's interesting that they do so many interviews with fighters before big fights, but shout out to them for giving the fighters this platform and exposure. Now, of course, they covered a wide range of different topics, including Shakur Stevenson and, of course, Regis Prograis. But interestingly enough, Gervonta Davis' name came up as well. Now, Jay, for me, as I listened to the interview, I found it to be quite perplexing, at least the statements from Devin Haney. And, you know, I've always been of the mindset that Devin Haney would return to 135 pounds. And I know you've been of the same mindset, only for one fighter, and that was Gervonta Davis. Outside of that, we believe he's going to stay at 140. And he kind of alluded to that to some degree. But his overall statements were just, I don't know, they contradicted themselves. So let me play this video very quickly, and I want us to come back and react to it.
Which fight has a better chance of happening down the line? You versus Tank or you versus Shakur?
I mean, the biggest fight is me versus Tank, so I would say that one. But Shakur is not too far behind.
Right. What weight do you think the Tank fight would be at?
140.
Yeah.
It would have to happen at 140.
Why is that?
I mean, he's fought at 140 before. He beat Mario Barrios at 140. I'm at 140 now. It would make the most sense for it to be at 140.
You say I'm at 140
because
now.
He says Tank is the type of fighter. He says he doesn't care about belts, right? Mm-hmm. He doesn't fight for belts. He fights for money. So he wouldn't care about the belts at 135. He would just want to make the money in fighting me. So 140.
And when you say I'm at 140,
so that I think here's what I don't understand about what it is that he's saying, and I think he threw a caveat in there to help try to explain it, but I'm not sure if it did the job. So you're saying that you would return to 135 pounds, and you're open to doing so, but and you would do it for the right fight. And I can't remember if he even said it in that clip. Let me
40 now. You are eventually going back to 135 though, right?
For the right fight.
Oh, okay. There's a chance you may not.
Okay, I wanted to add that. I wanted to add that piece back in there, right? Because I felt like that part wasn't said in that clip, and I remember that part specifically. So if you're willing to go back down to 135 for the right fight, the only right fight to go back to 135 pounds for is Gervonta Davis. So why are you saying then that the fight needs to be at 140 pounds? Now, he threw the caveat in there, Jay, of saying, well, he doesn't really fight for belts. So going back down to 135, I think this is what he was trying to say. Going back down to 135 wouldn't really make any sense because he's already fought at 140 and he doesn't care about the belts at 135. So he wants to. But that doesn't really even matter. Whether Tank cares about the belts or not, he's going to dictate the weight class, period. So if Tank says he wants it at 135, he wants it at 135. If he wants it at 140, he wants it at 140. So to me, the answer should have been for the right fight, I will move back down to 135 pounds. And that would be the right fight would be Gervonta Davis. Now, maybe also in his mind, the right fight is Shakur Stevenson, but my gut tells me that that's not the case.
Nah.
So Jay, what's your thoughts on Devin Haney's comments? I mean, I'm listening to him and I'm excited when he says he's interested in that fight. He believes that will be the bigger fight for him. Of course, it would be the bigger fight for him. It's going to be the bigger fight for anybody in and around 135 pounds to 140. But then the subsequent comments in regards to it needing to be at 140 pounds, it just didn't make any sense to me. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, he's trying to figure out how to say it. Honestly, I think. Because to me, regardless if you fight at 135 or 140, the biggest fight for you is going to be Tank. Yeah. That's hands down, no matter what weight you fight him at. That's your biggest fight. Now, if he's talking to try to come back down to 135 to fight Shakur to be undisputed a second time, that's something different. But nah, you're not going to be able to dictate what weight class, gloves, or anything with Tank. Tank is another version of Canelo. When you fight either one of them, they dictate everything that happens in that fight. You know, as far as like matchmaking with that gloves, ring, whatever it may be, your purse split, all that. They dictate all that. So him saying that 140 thing, because Tank has fought at 140 before when he fought Mario Barrios, Tank would do it again. He may or may not. You know, if Devin wins is successful against Regis, that may give more reason for Tank to do it just to get another belt at 140. But like he said, Tank said belts don't really make him. At least Mayweather said that as well for Tank. I think Tank may have said it once or twice, but Mayweather definitely, that was Mayweather's thing. Belts don't make you. So it's interesting how he said that he will come back back down to 135. But for who? If it ain't Tank. You know, even Shakur said that he would rather that, you know, Devin will be better at 140 and 135 because he's hurt, killing himself to get down to 135. So why would you handicap yourself to be at 135 when you could stay at 140? You know, it's I'm not understanding that logic for anyone else outside of Tank. It doesn't make sense to me.
No, I agree. I just, like I said, the statements, I'll come back down for the right fight. The only right fight at 35 where you're going to make your biggest and best payday is against Gervonta Davis. But yet you then make the statement that the fight has to be at 140. And I guess, again, I guess he's trying to use the logic of, well, if Tank doesn't want the belts, which we don't know if Tank wants the belts or not. He might just want to win and become undisputed and then just drop all the belts. Who knows?
Yeah.
But and then using the logic that Tank is also fought at 140 before, logically speaking, Tank would want the fight at 140 pounds. But there's no reason to believe that, considering he just fought Ryan Garcia at a catch weight. So why would it be at 140? Like, to me, there's no evidence that would suggest that Tank would be interested in the fight being at 140, regardless of if he have interest in the belts or not. So to me, overall, the statement didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. If he's interested in fighting Tank Davis, it's probably going to be at 135 pounds. Now, maybe Tank may want to move up to 140, but I don't think Tank is having any issues with making 135. So to me, the answer was yes, the fight can be made, and that would be a fight that I would consider to move back down to 135 for. Now, he's not interested in the belts, so maybe there's a possibility that we could have it at 140, considering he's had one fight up at 140 before, and he has no real interest in the belts. That would make a little bit more sense to me. But starting off with it has to be at 140, and maybe that's what he meant, but starting off with it has to be at 140, that's not going to happen because you're not going to dictate any terms.
Not a damn thing you're going to dictate when it comes to Tank. Tank Canelo. But yeah, it's like 135. We've been on record multiple times saying Devin's coming back to 135. It's only one fight that he should make, and that's Gervonta Tank Davis. All the other fights, it doesn't make sense for him to kill himself to get down to 135 and put himself at a disadvantage when he's not going to make the biggest payday. The risk and reward, they have to be good enough for it. Doesn't make sense to me.
Totally agree. You guys tell us what you think in the comment section in regards to what Devin Haney had to say relative to Gervonta Davis. Does it make sense to you? Personally, for me, it doesn't. Maybe he meant something different. Maybe he meant what I said toward the end of this video. I don't know, but let us know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media, and we are out.